Welcome to The Approach Shot, the golf show that's more laughs than links, more stories than strokes, more guffaws than golfers. Here are the hosts of The Approach Shot, John Ashton and Neil Michaels.
Whether you have done this on purpose or you have just stumbled in, we are The Approach Shot. I'm John Ashton.
And I'm Neil Michaels, and I believe you looked at me when you said stumbled in.
And
Susie Quattro.
You stumbling in. Yeah, there you go.
I jumped on it for you. Give me another one.
That is a game that old radio guys play with themselves all the time, is just throw out just a lyric, a line, a thought, and immediately you can sing the song or at least get the rest of the title and artist and the rest of the lyrics. It's
Artist for Kung Fu Fighting.
Was that Carl Carlton? Carl Douglas. Carl Douglas, yes.
You get half for that.
Yes, Carl
Ding,
Douglas.
ding, ding.
Yeah, Carl Carlton was Everlasting Love.
Yes, indeed.
Yep.
Speaking of things that we stumble around to, you and I talk all the time about the fact that we work from home, and we're blessed to be able to work from home, and I know a lot of other people do too. Mm-hmm. And you and I spoke not long ago about the fact that there's work from home, and then there's being home. Yeah. So this morning, we're old DJs, and we're about to do this great podcast and stuff, and nothing humbles you more than putting your underwear away. So I'm putting laundry away this morning, and I just want to be sure that I'm not the only one who does this. Underwear is away, t-shirts are away, everything is, and the socks are on the bed. So I roll up the socks, and the minute it gets rolled into a ball, I turn into Kareem Abdul-Jabbar meets Michael Jordan. The drawer goes open, and I start playing sock basketball. I'm shooting set shots. I'm shooting jump shots. I'm doing hook shots. I'm falling on the bed and bouncing it off the wall. And if it hits the floor, can't hit the floor. They all have to go in. I wonder how many of our listeners are thinking right now, sock basketball. Yeah, I've done that since I was a kid.
Well, I'm sure. And during the COVID thing, my wife and I have separated. She's at one end of the house. I'm at the other because she's a critical care nurse and she's working COVID units all the time.
Yeah.
And she's scared of making me sick, which I said, hey, you've done it for 30 years, son. Don't worry about it. No, I said,
ooh, ouch.
But I'm sleeping in a room that was formerly occupied by a grandson. So it has all of the young teenage accoutrements.
Such as?
Including little miniature basketball hoops hanging above the door.
You're so lucky.
I don't do it with socks. I do it with wadded up pieces of paper.
Yeah, I don't know why we think as old podcasters that we have basketball game. But, once a week I'm out there, whoop, right off the wall. Oop, oh, look at that. Take that, tricksters. I just bounced one off the mirror.
We're lucky to have a golf game.
That's right. Thank goodness we have one ball that we can actually do something with correctly. Sort of.
Hey, we are going to do something correctly today, too. We have two very interesting, informative, entertaining, and wonderful people that we're going to talk to.
So basically way above our pay grade.
We didn't tell them who we were, and we kind of tricked them into coming on. But you've done the research. Janine Firpo, our conversation with her, man, she is
brilliant.
Very. I mean, just Hewlitt Packard and investing and just all the things she's done.
Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
Yeah.
She's brilliant, and she has a book coming out, and we're going to talk to her about the subject matter there and about travel and some other interesting things. This lady is worth the stick around.
Definitely. And then your buddy Frank, man.
Well, you challenged me to find somebody funny.
And you did.
We've been really lucky to have some great comedians so far on Golf is a Funny Game. And Frank has his own podcast, and he's just a guy who can tell a story. And at the end of it, you're going to be wiping the tears from your face.
Yes.
He is just a funny, funny man.
So for Janine Firpo and for Frank and for your own personal edification, we suggest you hang out a bit. What do you think?
Do so.
We'll be right back.
Could COVID really cost you your home? Well, cybercrime is up 75%, but the type you really need to worry about is home title theft, which is why you need Home Title Lock. Cyber criminals are after our homes, and it's easier than you'd think. The title documents to our homes are online now. The thief finds your home's title and forges your signature on a quitclaim deed stating you sold your home, and he's the new owner. Then he takes out loans on your home and leaves you in debt. You won't know until late payments or eviction notices arrive. Insurance doesn't cover you, and neither do common identity theft programs. For pennies a day, Home Title Lock protects your most valuable asset. The instant Home Title Lock detects someone tampering with your home's title, they help shut it down. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you're already a victim and receive 30 free days of protection with promo code RADIO. Go to HometitleLock.com. HometitleLock.com.
Hey, welcome back. The Approach Shot. It is us. I am John Ashton.
And I am Neil Michaels. And before we get to Janine, who again is definitely worth hanging out for, we want to announce that we are doing a contest.
Yay.
Something to put some stuff in your pockets.
Yay!
And the contest has you listening back to last week's episode with Steve Lyons. And the question we have for you is, Steve talks about a great round of golf that he played until he got to the 18th hole. What we need you to do for this contest is tell us what he shot on the 18th hole. So all you have to do is listen back to that podcast, tell us what he shot, and email us at contest@theapproachshot.net. And we will pick a winner from all of the correct responses. Right. So again, tell us what Steve shot, send it to contest@theapproachshot.net. And the prize this week is a $25 Amazon gift card. It's a number, and I'll give you a hint. It's higher than a 4. All right.
There you go.
So there you go.
And lower than a 20.
Well, there you go. So again, contest@theapproachshot.net. Send us your guess. It's higher than a 4 and lower than a 20.
There you go.
Perfect. We have somebody who is way too smart for us and probably is going to regret being on the show at all. She is a writer, an angel investor, and a social innovator. She's the founder and president of SEMBA, whose mantra is grow your money, change the world. She's also on the board of Zebras Unite and was previously the deputy director of financial services at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So you can see we are way over our head at this point. Her book, Activate Your Money, Invest to Grow Your Wealth and Build a Better World, is scheduled to be released in the spring. Please join me in a welcome for Janine Firpo.
Yes, the woman who needs no introduction.
Thank you. Hello, gentlemen. It's a pleasure to speak with both of you.
Well, we appreciate that. It's a pleasure for you to join us here, Janine, and thank you for spending some time with us here. We realize that what you're doing is very important, but there's one question I want to get out of the way first. Which syllable do I accent properly? Is it finance or finance?
I say finance.
Finance. Okay, great.
Finance.
Just want to make sure.
That's a fine answer.
Just wanted to make sure. In reading some of the materials that you have put out, you say that it is 9% of women that are comfortable investing.
9% think that they are better investors than men. The majority do not think we invest as well as men.
Okay. Why is that?
Because we have not been in the conversation and we're not encouraged to think about money or think about investing. It's just not, even though we're smart and capable, we haven't really been included in those conversations. But here's what's really interesting. When women do invest, we outperform men by as much as 1%.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Doesn't surprise me either.
Yeah.
What does surprise me is that 91% think that men do a better job.
It's just a result of the don't worry your pretty little head about it that people have been talking for eons, or?
That's a big part of it. I mean, We're not really taught that we're smart in math. We're often turned away from the sciences. That's why you have all these STEM programs and initiatives to bring women into science, technology, engineering, and math. We are afraid of our money. We have been taught traditionally to save, which we're really good at. So we're taught to save. We're taught to not spend as much as we make. We're really good at those things, but we're so good at them that we keep almost 70% of our assets in cash and cash equivalents, which means that on a per annum basis, since that money doesn't keep up with inflation, we're actually losing money.
Yeah. Is that the reason why? Because I've noticed in a lot of the television advertising for some of the online trading companies, they are using more and more women in their advertising now. They're aimed at women or using women in. Is that one of the things they're actively?
They are. They're trying to encourage women to invest. But what I've also found is that women invest differently than men. So when we are left to our own devices, we want to be more informed before we make investments. Men are more willing sometimes to shoot off the hip and to really think everything through. We want to feel confident in the decisions we're making. I found that men are more inclined to invest in individual stocks in the stock market, for example, whereas women choose funds. Okay. So we invest a little bit more slowly. We hang on to what we have a little bit more, and we have been not investing as much as men. So I think that in many of these sites, as you suggested, are trying to draw women in and are trying to get us to invest more. But I think to be successful, you have to talk to women differently, and you have to talk to the things that women care about.
Well, to bolster that whole idea about the research and things you just said, is when my wife was involved in a management change, actually an ownership change at the hospital she works at, and they redid her 401k. So she had to come back and do all the allocation and stuff. And she did it all. And she said, do you want to look at this? And I went, have you? And she Googled everything. She knew everybody she was investing in. She knew all the funds. And I said, I see no reason for that, because I don't know. We'll just go with what you want to do. Do it.
No, I think that's great. I love that story. And part of the reason that I love that story is because when I think about this from a male perspective, you know, if men get their wives more involved in this, and if women start to say, I want to take more responsibility for the investments, then it leaves the men with more free time. And then what can they do with that free time? They can golf.
Play golf.
Much more golf.
Women on their own should think about this, because the truth of the matter is, right now, there's a wealth gap between women and men. I just read something the other day that when women retire, they retire with $1 million less in capital than men. And part of that is because our average earning capacity, our highest earning capacity, is when we're 44. For men, it's in their mid-50s. Okay. We don't have as long a time in the career space because of kids and older parents that we have to take care of. And we're living longer. And so we actually need more money to get through our retirement years than men do. We're not doing enough to save for that and invest for that. And so this is becoming increasingly important for women, I think, to be smart about our money.
What I love about what you're doing, on top of teaching women to invest smarter, invest better, everything that you're involved in also is involved in making the world better.
That's right.
How did that come about, and how do you, and what path are you taking to get there?
The short version of this story, because we could talk about this for a long time. In 1995, I had already had like a 15-year career in the high-tech sector in the Silicone Valley. I was a huge traveler, quit a job, and I took a 5-month solo backpacking trip through sub-Saharan Africa. That was the first time I ever saw poverty of the type that I saw back then. And I came back from that trip and I decided I'm going to change my career. I want to use my life in a way that's going to help address these issues. And I want my life to have purpose. So that led me then on a 20-some year career in international development and using technology and business thinking to solve issues of poverty in the developing world. Because I was in that line of work, I got involved in conversations in the Bay Area around new ways of thinking about philanthropy and what became known as impact investing. So 10 years ago, I decided I made this huge shift in my life and my work. My money isn't even aligned with what I do. In fact, my money is working at odds with what I'm trying to do through my life's work. So I'm going to figure out a way to move all of my assets, starting with my savings and checking accounts, all of it, into alignment with my values. And I've been on that journey ever since. I've had financial advisors who have helped me, but I have to tell you, when I retired from my international career 3 years ago, I really started working on this myself. And I realized the time is ripe to help other women do this. So I am trying to help other women understand how to do this through both my own journey. I had 150 women help me in this book writing process. Mm-hmm. So I went to a bunch of the smart women I know who are leaders in the financial space and had them help me and make sure I was providing the right kinds of information to women in this book. So the book teaches you how to be a smart investor